What up, y'all? UFC T-Dot breakdowns. We got UFC on Espn, Santos versus Hill. It's at the Apex Center in Vegas. We had just Michael Bisping and Brendan Fitzgerald on the card. I don't mean just, but usually it's three-man call, but on these smaller cards. I'm trying to think if I've seen, I've just seen Felder and Anik on one before. First up, we had Mayra Bueno Silva versus Stephanie Egger. This is a crazy, like, the way this ended. So Silva had her, in an armbar that looked like if she pulled any more, her arm would have snapped. She said she felt the tap on her butt, but like Egger's arm was like hidden so you couldn't see it. And then when Egger got up, she didn't say like I tapped or I didn't tap. She just refused to speak. So they had to like poll the judges, and I don't know, Herb Dean was somewhere like, I saw her tap, I seen it. After the fight, Egger tried to touch her glove, and she like wouldn't touch her glove. She was all emotional, crying like, "Oh, I would never do this thing." It's like, I don't think anyone thinks you did anything wrong there, lady. Yeah, so Mayra Bueno Silva gets the win from the armbar submission. Next up, we had Corey McKenna versus Miranda Granger. This is crazy because Granger had a 10-inch reach at 10 inches and just let McKenna get up on her and get her down to the ground. Almost got her with this arm triangle right at the end of the first round. Just luckily she got saved by the bell because she had it locked in. In the second round, she ended up getting a Von Flute choke for the submission. In the second round, McKenna did. Apparently, she has like the shortest reach in the entire UFC, so she's always gonna be facing a reach advantage. Next up, we had Brian, the coolest name for a fighter ever. Pooh Bear, not a cool fighter nickname. Battle, Brian Battle. His nickname is Pooh Bear. That kills me. I don't get it. Like, why with a name like Brian Battle, as you fight professionally, would you call yourself Pooh Bear? But whatever. That's his nickname, against Takashi Sato. So maybe about 30 seconds in, Battle lands a right head kick and Sato is asleep. This fight card was crazy. Every single fight was a finish. There was no judges involved in who won or lost this, which is great. I like that. Next up, we had Smiling Sam Alvey versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. I don't know, man. At this point, I'm kind of wondering if Sam Alvey is really fighting or if he's just collecting the paycheck at this point to get beat on. Round 1 TKO. Alvey is tough as nails, but I don't remember him throwing a single punch. I just remember him getting hit, falling down and getting up and stumbling and loose legs and getting hit. Canceled fights, Ariana Lipski versus Priscilla Cachoeira. That would have been a good fight. I like that Ariana Lipski. She kind of looks like Gal Gadot. She's like Brazilian Gal Gadot, MMA Gal Gadot. Priscilla Cachoeira, man, she's tough. Like just a zombie. Walks through punishment. We had Jason Witt versus Josh Quinlan canceled. On the main card, first fight, we had Terrence McKenna versus Eric Gonzalez. It was a fun back and forth on the feet, but McKenna just looked better. And then once he took him down, he looked a whole lot better. Hopped right onto his back, literally standing rear naked choke. Like, you don't see a lot of standing submissions, but standing rear naked choke from McKinney. It was a good, I feel like they were pretty equally matched, just McKinney was a little bit better everywhere that we saw them fight, at least, and that was the difference maker. Augusto Sakai versus Sergey Spivak. There's big strikes all around in this fight. Spivak looked good. He looked good both on the ground and on the feet. He TKO'd him. Once he got him on the ground, he was controlling him, ground and pound. He got the TKO with the ground strikes. Sakai kind of complained at the end a little bit because he felt like it was kind of an early stoppage. Like, he wasn't out, but also like they probably saved you some brain cells, man. Spivak got the round 2 TKO from the ground strikes. Next up, we got Brogan Walker versus Juliana Miller, which was the Ultimate Fighter final for the Nunez Pena coaching season. I don't watch Tough. I don't like reality TV, no matter any. So they had like a Pena promo about her fighter and Nunez promo about her fighter. I didn't watch that crap. I'm interested in the fights. Juliana Miller is like, I don't know, man. She seems like a weird hippie, but she's not a joke in there, but she's just like, yeah, man, just enjoying life, doing things, being wild. It's like, all right. But then in the ring, though, she's kind of a killer. Like, she's not a joke. Miller's corner was yelling every time anything had, oh. Nothing was happening. They were still announcing them, and they were going, oh. Miller got on top at some point very early and just remained on top for the rest of the fight. There was very little, I mean, just every time they would get up on the feet, Walker would have some good moments, then she would try to go into the clinch. I think Miller is like deceptively tall or understands leverage well or something, because every time they got into the clinch, it seemed like Miller was at the advantage, and it seemed like that's what Walker wanted. Miller got back on top of her. They had this little thing in between round 1 and 2 though, where Walker was like trying to step over Miller the way like Scottie Pippen did Patrick Ewing, and like she didn't really like that. She kind of bucked up at her vagina was right in her face as she was doing it. I can understand that, but it didn't turn into anything like big or nothing. It just was kind of, yeah, it seemed like Brogan Walker wanted to wrestle until they started wrestling every time. Like, it was 2 straight rounds of ground control, more than 8 minutes of ground control total. At the end, Miller started landing these crazy elbows. Like, she was landing them a little bit earlier, but they were like weren't impactful to the last round somehow. TKO'd her with the ground and pound from those elbows. Miller is the tough champion. Deontay Wilder was in the audience. He's the only celebrity they showed that I remember. Next up, we have Muhammad Usman versus Zach Poanga. Muhammad Usman is Kamaru Usman's big little brother. We say big little brother because he's his younger brother who was a heavyweight. He looks like Usman's heavyweight brother. He looks horrifying. So the Zach Poanga guy apparently played for the Texans on the practice squad. It was a good back and forth. Poanga definitely was more technical. Usman was clearly the bigger, stronger guy. At some point, they just had a big fucking exchange, and Usman got the KO in round 2. Like, he caught him with this counter left hook, just like a little check hook. Sleep. So Muhammad Usman is the tough champ. Of course, they couldn't have him win and just let him enjoy his moment. So they brought Kamaru in there and put him on the mic. So Kamaru, I swear he has the same amount of mic time as his brother who just won the Tough Championship. But one thing that was real funny about it though, man, at one point Dana White tried to shake Muhammad's hand. So he shook Usman's hand, and when he tried to shake Muhammad's hand, Muhammad gave him his left hand across his body. Instead of just giving him the right hand, he gave him his left hand across the body like this. I was like, that was weird. And then after Bisping was interviewing him, he tried to shake Muhammad's hand, and Muhammad didn't even raise a hand. He just was like, nope, I'm gonna hug my trophy. I just thought it was interesting that he snubbed both of them on their handshakes. Next up, we have Vicente Luque versus Jeff Neal. This is probably the fight of the night. This is a fun fight. Jeff Neal looked sharp, accurate, focused. He had a game plan. He was patient, because there were moments where he hurt Luque, but instead of charging in and gassing himself, he like really took his time and made sure that he had the win rather than impaling himself on a fist. And Luque was dangerous the whole time. He was landing big punches until the end, but Luque's one of those fighters where you got to kind of kill him, and I think Neal was ready to kill. So, I didn't mean to do that. There was a point where he was landing these framed uppercuts just over and over and over again. Anyways, he got the KO in round 3. And it was like you could hear them talking in between, or after the fight was over. Neal told him, like, you tough, man. You had me worried in round 2. You started coming back. I just like that little moment between the fighters, you know what I'm saying? And then for the main event, we got Thiago Santos versus Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill's this guy who, I swear the first time I seen him, I'm like, oh no, this boy has gotten lost in a UFC arena. But turns out, this guy is no joke. Hits much harder than he looks. He doesn't seem like he's in shape at all, but he's like powerful and strong. He's a great wrestler. It's crazy how good this guy is. Thiago Santos is a guy who, some say gave John Jones one of his hardest tests on a broke knee. He hasn't really found a whole lot of success, in my opinion, since he came back from that broken knee. I think he's won a couple fights, but he hasn't looked as good as he used to. He hasn't been looking like the world ender. It's a good fight, though. Jamal Hill is just a little bit more accurate, a little bit more precise, and I think he's unconventional, which helps him land strikes a little bit better. Santos was really trying to wrestle. He had 19 takedown attempts. I know he had him down for some points, but I don't remember him doing anything when he had him down. End result, Jamal Hill ends up with a TKO in the round 4. I think they both were pretty tired by the end, but Santos was truly gassed. Jamal Hill called out Jan Blachowicz. He called out the champ too, and he said if he's busy, he'll take on Jan. Jamal Hill voice, man, just the way he sounded like he was trying to seduce Michael Bisping. He was like, I'd like to see Jan Blachowicz if the champ is busy. That's just what I came in here to win. That's just what I gotta do. Sometimes when you gotta beat a man within an inch of his life to get $100,000 from Dana White, that's what you gotta do. All right. That's it. If you're still here at this point, I'm gonna do it in Jamal Hill voice. At this point, if you're still here at this point, I love you. I appreciate you listening. Thanks for coming by. It's UFC Breakdowns. Bye.